Yo, what's up, my nigga? Hey, check game, man. I'm about to go catch me a body. You heard me? I'm about to go catch me a body. Whoa, bro, what you mean you ain't go catch you a body? What's going on? Why? What's going on, man? It can't be that serious. What's going on, bro? Bro, I found out dude is hollering at my baby's mama, man. You know what I mean? And I ain't trying to hear none of that, man. When I see him, it's on sight. Yo, I feel what you're saying, bro, but you and your baby's mama been apart for like a year and a half, man. You got 3, 4 other different females, plus you got 2 other kids on the side, man. And you gonna throw your whole life away over a dude that's hollering at your baby's mama, bro? Think about this. Bro, you sounding real soft right now. I got this Draco with his name all over it, and when I see him, it's up. And you know once it's up, it's stuck. If they send me to the pen, I go to the pen, get swole, eat well on commissary, eat good and shit on commissary, and get my motherfucking stripes. But just know that it's on when I see him. Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again. Real Kids TV in the house like kitchen sinks. Now, before I get into today's video, if you will, understand that I'm the self-proclaimed Mr. 30 Minutes or Better. Meaning that anytime I drop a story, it's guaranteed to be 30 minutes or better. So if you're on your way to work, you're at work, you don't feel like being there, as we so often don't. You're on your way home from work, you need to laugh, need to cry. Perhaps you need to lay down and take a nap, or you're trying to go to sleep at night, depending on whatever time you're listening to or viewing this video. Or you're just in the mood for a good old-fashioned true, keyword being true, penitentiary/life story/life experience. This is the channel for you. If you prefer your 8 to 12 to 15-minute videos, absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But at Real Kids TV, it's 30 minutes or better. So with all that being said, with all that wrapped up into one big old nutshell, pause. There is a message. I was speaking with a youngster about 2 days ago. Well, before I get into this message, I almost forgot. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Jump in the comments and, let me know what city and state you represent. As I mentioned, I was chatting with a young man. He was about 25, 26 years old. And basically, he was, in a sense, glorifying prison. Talking about the stripes that he was able to gain when he went to prison. The respect that he garnered once he got out of prison. So I asked him, I said, young man, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel good that you had to be away from your family? How long were you locked up? Man, OG, old head. I did 3.5. Okay, so you did 3.5 years. So you was away from your 4 kids. You was away from your mother, your father, your girl, your baby mama, whatever. You missed out on money. You missed out on opportunity while you was gone. Could have lost your life inside of there, and you feel as though you gained something by going to prison. You gained some stripes. So there's a misconception. A lot of people that have never been to prison look at individuals such as myself or guys that come home as, man, this guy was a warrior, man. A barbaric warrior, man. He was in there just fighting for his life, and his back was against the wall, and he was knocking dudes out, or they was knocking, they was fighting or whatever. Now, while there are situations like that, while there are prisons like that, excuse me, a la Big Sandy, the federal prison in Kentucky, USP, most prisons that you go to is just simply not like that. You go do your time, you may have a couple scuffles or what have you, but for the most part, man, you're going to make it out. Individual named Keith. Keith was a black dude. At the time, Keith was about 30, 31. My complexion. He had braids. A lot of people actually said that we looked alike. Keith had a bunch of tattoos, though. Keith was a little bit taller than me. He probably weighed about 215, 220. So our weight was, kind of the same. I don't know if I exactly weighed that much at the time, but it was close to it. Only difference is Keith was 5'11". I'm not quite 5'11". Keith was one of those individuals, man. You could just tell that he was just a smooth type dude. Went to the store every single week. Every single week he went to the commissary. Back then, you go to the commissary once a week. I'm giving you all an insight, an actual insight of what prison is truly like. So if you haven't been, pay close attention. If you have been, you know exactly where I'm coming from. As I mentioned, Keith will go to commissary every week. He spend $100. That's what you could spend. That was the max. Putting money on other people's books so he could spend another $100. And he say, okay, look, my people gonna send you this 100. You get you know, $15, $20 worth of items or whatever, and then you go to the store for me and get the additional things that I need. Every weekend visits is 9 to 3, 9 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. Saturday and Sunday. And you got special visits, Christmas, Thanksgiving, you know, special holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Day. He stayed in the visitation room, on the visitation floor. 9 to 11, one of his females was coming. Then another one might come after that, and then his main one, his wife. Literally, his wife would come third visiting section, if you will. Probably get there like 1. She stayed till 3. Get there 12:30, something like that. Stayed up 3. They call it the dance floor. He stayed on the dance floor, man. Visitation. Visitation is beautiful. Gets your mind off prison for a while. Even though you got some jerk-ass guards on visit that try to do anything they can do to ruin your visit or terminate your visit. But they're not all like that. Get the vending machines. Your people can bring money. Got to be coins, though. Quarters. Eat all you want to eat. Sometimes they bring pizza, like Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's. Sometimes they'll have pizza up there for you. You can take pictures with your family. They got toys for the kids to play with. Visitation is a beautiful thing if you have somebody in your life that loves you enough to, you know, support you while you're in prison. Got mail. His name was on the mail list every day. And so, you know, Keith, he was a quiet dude. He was kind of humble. You know, he wasn't really loud. Every once in a while he might get a little loud, but you could just tell that he was just he got his money out there on the streets, man. People knew about him. People was, you know, yeah, man, that's Keith, man. Keith was doing this. I remember he had this, he had that. You know, you're gonna hear a whole lot about that in prison. Yeah, man, I remember I used to have this type of car. I used to have this type of whip. I used to have this amount of money. A whole lot of penitentiary stories. Not to say that they're not true, but it's a whole lot of stories nevertheless. Keith was having a situation at home. Keith had a 10-year sentence, I want to say. 10-year sentence in Kentucky, you do 20% of your time and you have a chance to come home. Parole board hadn't been letting Keith go. Every time he does his time eligible to the parole board, they say, come back and see us in 9 months. Come back and see us in a year. Come back and see us in 6 months. Things at home was becoming increasingly, I guess, worse. Because it's never good when you're in prison in the first place. Very difficult thing to do, ride with somebody that's in prison. Keith's wife had found out that he had a baby on the way. Actually, the baby had already been born. But prior to going into prison, Keith had a baby on the way. Wifey never knew it. Now, this is very, very common. This happens all the time. I've told other stories about dudes get caught up in prison and then their wife finds out about another child outside of the marriage or relationship. Very, very common, man. Y'all rock with me. Ain't in no rush. Shout out to the truck drivers. Shout out to the electricians. Shout out to the factory workers. Shout out to the caregivers, the overnight caregivers. Shout out to the people the daycare workers that watch the babies, the infant babies. Shout out to everybody, man. People that work in big Burger King, McDonald's. Sweeping them floors. Cleaning them toilets. Shout out to the correctional officers, the cool ones. Shout out to everybody that's doing what they got to do to make $1, man. What up, Steve? My dog, Steve, man. Truck driver. Ain't no telling where Steve's at. Wherever you at, Steve. I know you listening. Salute, bro. Keith's wife done found out about the infidelity in their marriage. She's done. These type of things that go on in prison, you all that think that prison is cool. I'm going to continue to reiterate that since some of you all think that prison is so cool. She's done. She's done. See, there's a difference. There's done and there's done. She's done. Keith was known as somewhat of a pretty boy. Plenty of women on the side, as I mentioned. I have 3 women come to see him, and they all was fine. Every last one of them was fine. She found out about this. I'm not taking no more. I've been with you for 10 years plus. You done cheated on me. You done been to prison a couple times. I never stepped outside of the marriage or the relationship. But a baby? No, that's too much. Stopped coming to see him. Was no longer bringing the kids to come and see him. They had young kids at the time. I remember I used to see them on visitation. I want to say they had 3 kids, and they were all, relatively close in age. 3, 5, and 6, 3, 5, and 7, something like that. She did allow his mother to bring the kids down there to see him, but she stopped coming. We're in the same dorm together, so I can't help but hear, and I'm not trying to meddle into his conversation, but we're not in cells, we're in open dorms. He's calling her. She won't answer the phone. He's writing. She won't pick up. He's sending messages. She's sick of it. As time goes past, another one of the females that was coming to see him all the time, she fell off. So now it's only one. She got one that's really, still there in his corner trying to hold him down. I guess financially she couldn't do what the wife could do, because now Tim wasn't spending I'm sorry. Matter of fact, let's double rewind that. Keith. Now all of a sudden Keith he's not spending that $200 a week at commissary. Might go to commissary and be able to spend, $30, $40, $20, $25, $30 or whatever. But he's not the same individual that he once was. He don't got that same glow. He don't got that same swag about him. Wifey's gone. Nothing he can say. He really wants to run off. At this point, we're at a camp. There's no fence. We don't need no fence here at Camp 8. We got ourselves what we like to call the gun line. Tell them about the gun line, boss. The gun line. Yeah, don't need no fence. Don't have no gun line for your information either. Just a low-level camp. You at a camp like that, you're low-level risk, what have you. And you want to run off? Run off. Just catch extra time. He's so sick about the situation. The city where he's from is about an hour and 15 minutes from here. He really wants to run off and go see what this is, what this is about. Thing is, you run off, you're going to get 10 more years minimum. He decides to stay. He decides to stick it out. He's pressed, though. You could just tell, like, in his face, in his whole demeanor, man, he's just pressed. See, when you're in prison, man, you have zero control. At least out here on the streets, you may not be able to control or manipulate anyone. Actually, you can, but I'm saying you might not have complete control over an individual on the streets, but at least you can get to him. You can talk to him. You can try to reason with him. In prison, you got one way to communicate with a person. Well, yeah, you can write, so that's another way. That blue box, they call it the devil's box, the phone. Y'all don't ever seen a prison phone? Google it. It's blue. Typically, it's blue. Sometimes it's silver, chrome, or whatever. Typically, a prison phone is blue. You see so many instances where people are just, I done seen dudes crying on the phone. Man. Grown men, please, please. Baby, I'm begging you. I know I'm messed up. Please don't leave me, please. Please, baby, I'm begging you. Don't leave me, please. That's why you don't play with people in prison. Because maybe on Tuesday, everything's all good. They joking and laughing and going back and forth or whatever. But on that Wednesday or that Thursday, maybe they get a bad phone call, a bad letter, a Dear John. You know what it feels like to get a Dear John letter in prison? Youngsters, they think it's cool to go to prison. You know what a Dear John is? Basically, it's a letter telling you, an email, whatever, communication devices that are used at this point, methods. I'm done with you. I won't be coming to see you no more. I won't be sending you no money no more. A lot of times, I won't be bringing the kids to see you no more. I'm done. Sickening feeling. All you can do is reflect and think about all the rotten things that you've done in this relationship, because typically you're not going to get a Dear John letter if you was holding it down while you was on the outside. Now, there are instances where you will. Don't get it misconstrued. Some women just not waiting. Man, I'm gone. No matter how good of a dude you were, good of a person, how you took care of her, she can't do jail time with you. But in most instances that I've seen anyway, it's one of those things to where you was doing everything that you could possibly do under the sun out here on these streets. And then when you in there, you down and out, you need this woman. You need this same woman that you would stay gone 2 and 3 and 4 days and wouldn't answer her phone calls. You need this woman that when you was asleep because you done passed out because you drunk or high, or you're not in your right frame of mind or whatever, and left your phone unlocked, and she done got into your phone and seen all these naked pictures and videos, and women that you're communicating with on Facebook and Instagram and Snap, and she's seeing all the text messages and all the different women that you are interacting with, having sexual relationships with, and here it is, y'all supposed to be married, and she still stayed with you. She may have gotten upset, y'all may have argued, maybe didn't speak a couple days or whatever, but she still wrote it out with you. Same woman that wanted to marry you and would have done anything, did anything for you, would have took a bullet for you, would have taken a case for you. Now you're in the penitentiary and you telling this woman how much you love her, how sorry you are, how much time you had to think and reflect back to, baby, I'm so sorry, man, because that guilt. But it's not only the guilt that's eating away with you, eating away at you. You know that now she really has free time. After 11, them phones turn off. I know a lot of prisons now, they got, a lot of people got cell phones, but we talking 20 years ago. It was very, very uncommon to see a cell phone in prison. You seen them, but it was very, very, very uncommon. Phones turn off at 11 o'clock. You don't know what she's doing. Is she getting back at me? You hearing these stories about a infamous Jody in prison? Yeah, Jody. For y'all that don't know, Jody's the dude that's taking care of your woman while you locked up. And when you come home, you may not ever even in your life hear or see Jody. See, I was Jody a few times. I see dudes, man, they don't even have a clue who I am. They don't even, or they don't have a clue that I exist. They don't have a clue of anything. Now, I haven't done these things as of late, but back in the day, yeah, I've been Jody a few times. I'm not proud of it, but hey. These things are really, really haunting you in your mind. You start to be accusatory. You start to accuse her of different things. Now, mind you, I'm just putting you in the mind frame of an individual that's in prison. Same prison that youngsters think that you go to, get your stripes over. You don't know what's going on. You can only think the worst. You can only envision all the things that your woman does to you, all the things that you love for her to do. Now she's doing them to another dude in your mind. You ready to run off the compound. You ready to choke something, smoke something. Some people do. Some people leave. 10, 15 minutes later, they dumbass get caught and get an additional 7, 8, 10 years. They know you going straight to your girl's house. They looking up your phone records. Who's the number you call most often? Oh, yep. Go to Tina's house. We'll get there before he does. Additional 10 years. She's gone this time. She's fed up. Keith's woman is actually gone. She hasn't showed up in months. I see Keith coming from visit one day. Caught him over the loudspeaker. We're just going to say Johnson is the last name. It's not, but we'll just say it's his last name for now. Keith Johnson, report to security. Keith Johnson, report to security. That's how it sounds over the intercom in prison. calling Keith Johnson to security. As I mentioned, I see him walking to security. They don't know he's walking. Keith Johnson, report to security. Keith Johnson, report to security. He's probably thinking he has to take a drug test or, something like that because, typically it's what they call you to security for. A drug test or write-up. It's usually one of the two. Comes out, see him a little later, maybe 30, 45 minutes later. He gets the news that his brother had been unalived while he's incarcerated. While he was in prison, his brother had been unalived. They were a year and a half apart. Youngsters, don't forget, you all said that, and I'm not referring to all young people. Hell, you got some older people that act more crazier than the young people. So I'm not referring to everybody. I'm just referring to the ones that really, really need to hear this. Remember, youngsters, you said you get your stripes when you go to prison. Ain't nothing like it, man. You lost your girl. Your wife. Not just your girl, your wife. Because all your secrets have been discovered. All your stones have been, unturned, flipped over. Now she knows what you was really, really about while you was out there. You lost your brother. Things just got harder. Went back to the parole board thinking you was going to go home. Parole board don't give a damn about your girl leaving, your wife leaving you. They don't give a damn about your brother, being unalive. Come back and see us in another 12 months. Come back and see you in another 12 months. Ain't nothing you can do but do the time. Damn, I already been locked up for 3 years, 3.5 years. Come back and see us in another 12. Now you stuck for another 12 away from your family. This lady's still not visiting. Every once in a while, she might pick up the phone so we can speak to the kids. Kids is getting older. But as far as you and I, no, ain't nothing happening. I'm done. I done moved on. Keeps waiting on a visit one day. This is a good 6 months later. Keith is waiting on a visit. And once again, they'll call you to the, visitation room. If you're in the dorm and they can find you, they have when it comes to your name, it'll come over the radio. So when the officer hears your name over the radio, then they'll go to, Keith Johnson. You got a visit, brother. If not, Keith Johnson report to visitation. Keith Johnson report to visitation. Comes over the loudspeaker. Keeps waiting. Damn, I know my people should have been here by now. People supposed to be there like 12 o'clock, 12:15. Maybe they got caught up in traffic. Maybe you just sitting there and you waiting. This particular camp we were at, you could go up by the visitation. You couldn't walk all the way up to visitation, but you could go close to visitation to where you could see the cars. So when you see the car come in, okay, my people's is here or whatever. Then you can go on up to visitation. Well, you got to wait for them to call you still over the intercom, but okay, they're going to call my name and I'm right here. Keith Johnson report to visitation. Keith Johnson report to visitation. Sitting there, he never sees the car pull in. They got a big white pretty truck, man. I want to say it was a Expedition. Remember, it's 20 years ago, 25 years. An Expedition, man, that thing was him. I can't even lie. He's expecting his mother, his other brother, his sister, and I want to say the kids. It's a lot of people he's expecting on visitation. Remember I said his ex-wife, well, she was still his wife, but she was in the midst of divorcing him in prison. Try that on for size. Get them divorce papers in prison. Ready to sign them papers. 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 You ain't ready to sign them papers in prison. He goes back. He's calling on the phone. Once he realizes that he's not going to get a visit for the day, he's concerned. It's not like mom now. Calling. He's not getting an answer. What is going on? The same prison that you get your stripes in, youngsters. What the hell is going on, man? He's calling other family members. Can't reach anybody. A few hours later, actually, it was several hours later, report to security. He know this time something's just not right. I ain't been able to reach my people, my family. Been calling and calling. Now y'all calling me up to security at 11 o'clock at night. Something ain't right. Something just ain't right. Something ain't right. Ms. Johnson, we need you to step in this room over here and have a seat. Anticipation is killing him. He don't know what's about to be said to him, if you will. One of the sergeants comes in. Miss Johnson, sorry to tell you this, but your mother, your sister, your brother, it was somebody else because it was 4 of them in a horrific accident earlier in the afternoon, apparently on their way up here to visit you and offer our condolences, but none of them made it. Flips out. Keith flips out. Understandably, he's flipping all the way out. He's turning over tables. He's crying. He's going crazy. Your mother, your uncle, your sister, and your other brother on their way to visit you, an hour and 15 minutes away, no more than an hour and a half away, in prison that you've been in for the 3rd time, and they're still supporting you and still being there for you, you know, so you can get your stripes. Were in a horrific accident and never made it to the prison to see you. What's so ironic about that is the kids were supposed to be in that truck on that visit. Something that ended up happening that day and they weren't able to make it. Had they been able to make it, those kids would have been in that truck. So when you think back, when you do a recap over it, you got Keith has lost his wife, his own doing. He lost his oldest brother. They were only a couple years apart. Lost him to the streets. Then 6-7 months later, your mother, your uncle, your sister, and your other brother gone. Wiped off the face of this earth. He didn't know his daddy. Never had a pops. A nigga used to sell green. That's what it was. He ain't had no pops. You could tell I was a chemist. The way I work a triple beam. Life is like a page. I want to turn. I want to change. But Lord, you let my brother burn. Sorry about that loud rap outburst. All of these losses, all of these occurrences, there's one common denominator. There's one common factor in the matter, and that's Keith being incarcerated and loved ones doing whatever they can do to be in his corner to show that we're here for you. We love you. Despite your transgressions, despite all the things that, the heartache that you continuously take us through. Yeah, we know when you're on the streets, you get your money. We know that. And you're going to look out. But we'd rather you be on the streets and just having a regular job. We'd rather you be on the streets and just have a regular job and not be able to provide. We'd rather have your time. and your love just being there, opposed to you being able to look out for us. But then you go to prison for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. How can one bounce back from that? They put him in a hole for about a week. Didn't get to go to no funerals. In Kentucky prisons, you can't go to funerals. They changed that law years ago. You can't go to no funerals. Everybody that ever loved you and was looking out for you is gone. Not to say that you just missed them for the money. But you need money while you're in prison. You definitely need money while you're in prison. Like you need money out here. And this confident individual that you would just walk around and was just laughing all the time and was just cool. You rarely seen him smile. You rarely seen him, period, on the yard. It's like he just gave up, lost all hope. I'm not in his situation. I'm not in his shoes. So I'm not one to say, oh, what he should have done, what he could have done. But I will say this. If he was never in prison, perhaps these situations may not have occurred. Just think of it again, once again, if his kids was in that truck, a big, pretty white expedition. If his kids was in the truck, right? We've already established the fact he didn't have no father. And your mother, your rock, your soul, your heartbeat is gone. Your 2 siblings, the only 2 siblings in this world that you had, are gone. Your uncle, your mother's brother, who was dear to you, he was kind of like your father figure, he's gone. Your wife, she done moved on. She's not fooling with you no more. Gone. Hell, I believe the other one that was coming to see him, she fell off and wasn't coming to see him anymore. I remember in the movie American Gangster. Hopefully y'all have all seen American Gangster. When Frank Lucas, he came back from where was he buying his work, his drugs from? Y'all jump in the comments and let me know. He was in a different Bangkok. He was in Bangkok, man. And he came back, and the police had raided his house. The detectives had raided his house, stole his money, shot his dog, dug up under the dog house or what have you, grabbed all his escape money, millions. Slapped his wife, I want to say. Police did. Disrespected his mother. Frank came in, he's heated. Him and Doc. Doc is his bodyguard. They're going to get these detectives. The mother's trying to talk sense into Frank. Frank, no, listen, I understand, Frank, but I don't care about this money. I don't care about this house. I don't care about this. It was a house he bought his mother. I don't care about anything, Frank. We just need you. We just see your brothers. Frank had, 4 brothers in the movies, I want to say. 4 or 5 brothers. A bunch of cousins. He moved them all from North Carolina down to, what was that at? I forgot where they were at. New York, I want to say. Yeah, they was in New York. Everybody was rich. Everybody was in the game. She's telling him, Frank, if you do this, everybody you ever loved will leave you. You see that beautiful lady over there, which was his wife was beautiful, Puerto Rican, I want to say. She'll leave you. Your brothers, they'll leave you. Your cousins, your family, they'll leave you. I'll leave you, Frank. A little bit later in the movie, not too much later, he's coming out of church, walking his mother. He took his mother to church every Sunday. He's coming out of church. The whole church is surrounded by the feds, the police department or whatever. Took Frank in. Everything that the mother said came true. Everybody left him, man. Frank ended up doing 15 years, I want to say. And when he came home, he got out to nothing. The same suit that he, at the time, was a tailored suit when he first came in. 15 years later, he came out to nothing. Absolutely nothing. Had nobody in his corner. Kind of cliche, because in this situation, it no matter how it arrived to that point, it was still to that point. He had nobody in his corner with it once he got out. Not sure whatever happened to Keith. I heard that he ended up catching another case and went to the feds some years later after he got out. Doesn't surprise me, and that's not to say that an individual can't change, but you got people that are determined to get that money, any means necessary. Get rich or die trying. Name of 50 Cent's first album, Get Rich or Die Trying. But it's crazy because that's a lot of people's mentality. They think that money is just the everything. You're nothing without money. That's the mentality that a lot of people have. But the truth of the matter is, yes, you need money to survive. You need money to live. What's money doing for P. Diddy right now? Ultimately, I think P. Diddy's going to beat that case. Not saying that he should, but I think he's going to beat it. But at this exact moment, what is money doing for P. Diddy right now? You think if people came to P. Diddy and said, listen, $500 million. That may be all the cash or liquid that P. Diddy can come up with. $500 million. You forfeit that over to us, and you get your freedom. What do you think he's gonna say? Otherwise, keep going and roll the dice. You may win a trial, get your freedom and your $500 million. What do you think's really, really gonna happen? What do you think P. Diddy would really say? What do you think anybody would say? If I'm in P. Diddy's shoes and you come to me, give you $500 million, I can go and I'm done, and y'all can't recharge me. I take his $500 million. I'm a hustler. You lose it all. You lose it all and you get it all back, man. You're truly a hustler like that. It's sad so many people are in the penitentiaries, man. So I tell these type of stories on my channel because I want people to be informed and to really, really know how prison is. These booty bandit stories that everybody's telling, because that's the money on YouTube. As far as prison content creators, the money is in telling booty bandit stories. So what happens? You tell a booty bandit story. Look up, you got 20,000 views within the first day or two. 20,000 views in the first day or two, guess what? You get paid. You get paid on YouTube. The more views that you got, or that you get, the more money that you make. So now you telling all stories about booty bandits, and you just making up shit. Because the truth of the matter is, and I've said it before, I said it in my last video, I want to say, or one of my last videos, there's only so many booty bandits you're going to come across in prison, man. That's the truth. But I don't think people care about the truth. People just want to be entertained. I'm going to get on here and tell you the real, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You don't get no stripes going to prison. You know who's in prison? Losers. Lame. You in prison, you're lame. You know why I say that? Because I was a lame 3 times. Lame. I was a lame. You in prison, you ain't got no girls. Think you something because you got a cell phone that you done had to pay $1,500 for? Ain't no guarantee you're going to keep that phone. You got to call people and ask them for money. Even if you're making your own bread in there, you know. Can't be around your kids. Can't be around your mother. What if your mother passes away when you're in prison, man? You don't want either parent to go, but it's something about a mother. Your father passes away, that's deep. That's not good either, man. It's terrible, but it's nothing like a mother, man. If your mother passes away while you in prison, man. I've lost a parent, my father, while I was in prison. I've lost grandparents. I don't know about you all situation, relationship, but grandparents in my life was just like your parents, close. You go stay with them. Sometimes you live with them. I've lost grandparents. I've lost friends. Close friends, man. I've lost relationships. Friendships. All of this trying to gain some stripes. As some of you all would say, trying to gain some stripes. To be disrespected. They can say whatever they want to say to you, but when you, as soon as you respond in the same manner that they approached you in, guess what? It's a write-up, or you're going to go to the hole. I'm walking one day. I got these boots on. My boots was kind of big on me. You got to wear the size they give you. So I'm walking, my feet are dragging, on the concrete. So I'm walking, you can just hear, how your feet drag? Well, these are boots, some state boots. Bob Barker. Yeah, Bob Barker. Responsible for a whole lot of prison products. Soaps, razors, shampoo, shaving cream, boots. Some of the uniforms. Yeah, Bob Barker. A 22-year-old, 22, 23-year-old correctional officer. He ain't even been working there maybe 6 months. You pick your feet up when you walk, inmate. Turn around, I'm like, what? You pick your feet up when you walk, inmate. I was like, man, fuck you. He was like, what did you say? Fuck you. And you better not get too close. Needless to say, I spent about a month in the hole for that. But and would have did it again. And would. So they'll disrespect you in prison, man. There's no dignity in prison. Take your clothes off. All your clothes. Raise your hand. Raise your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. Looking under your arms in your pits, in your armpits. Open your mouth. Lift your tongue. Say ah. Say ah la ah. It's taking a flashlight, the light part, all down in your mouth. Run your hands through your hair. Pull your earlobes back. Again, you butt naked. You don't got nothing on. It's a grown man sitting there telling you this. Well, he's telling you you're a grown man. It's a little punk-ass 22, 23-year-old, sometimes older, trying to get his stripes. Now, they're trying to get stripes. Raise your sack. Raise my sack. Raise your sack. Turn around. Run your hands through your hair again. Let me see the bottom of your feet. You standing on this dirty ass floor. Every once in a while, if you catch somebody cool, they'll put a blanket or something down on the floor. But then you got them jerks. They don't feel like you in prison. You don't deserve to stand on a clean floor. Squat down. Squat down, bend over, and spread your cheeks. Spread your cheeks and cough 3 times. Cough louder. Cough louder. Get dressed. Every time you go through a strip search, every time you go through visitation, every time you go through, if you doing something off the compound, as far as like, you got an outside job or something like that. All COs don't take you through that. Only the gay ones. Sorry. No offense to anybody. Only the zesty ones. You gotta be zesty to want to tell another grown man to raise his sack, to turn around, spread wide, cough, while you looking up his rectum with a flashlight. I see you. I see you. The fuck? Youngsters, you gotta get your stripes though. These are things that you subject yourself to in prison. I understand that people passing away is this part of life. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen to us all. But at least be able to go and show your respects and see that person for the last time. You're in prison, man. You are not going to a funeral. Not in Kentucky. You used to be able to go, but not in Kentucky. You're not going to a funeral. Keith's case. All it is as a result of you being in prison. Now, maybe not your brother that was in the streets. I guess ultimately your wife was going to find out what you was doing anyway. But them 4 individuals that was in the car, and you lucky, instead of being mad at God, because God, we don't always explain, or we don't always understand, rather, the things that happen in life. But just be grateful that your 3 young kids weren't in that pretty white expedition that you spoke so highly of. So the next time you all are thinking about gaining your stripes, spraying the block up, hitting them with the switches, think about everything that I've told you in this story, in this true story. You may be the one that's doing the time, but you're not the only one doing the time. People that are there for you, they're doing time with you just as well. No amount of money is not worth it, man. Guys, go to school. Go to school. If you don't want to go to college, that's cool. College is not for everybody. But get you a trade. I don't care if you go to barber school. There's nothing wrong with being a barber. I don't care if you go to learn how to do something with your hands. You can be an electrician, man. You can be a welder, a plumber, a carpenter. Hell, you can do them all. If you work at a factory, get your certification and learn how to run those big-ass machines, forklift driver. Learn how to do something to where you have a skill and you have something to offer a company. I'm a quick learner. Yeah, that's cool, but you got to have something that's tangible. You're going to do these things in prison anyway. Go to prison. Mama, I learned how to drive a forklift. Mama, I learned how to drive a backhoe. Well, you can make $50 an hour driving a backhoe out here. $40 an hour, whatever they pay. You go to prison, they pay you $5 a day, and you got one of the best jobs on the yard. $120 a month because you don't work 7 days a week. And I'm like, Mom, man, they gave me a job driving a backhoe. I make $120 a month that you're going to spend all in commissary. So essentially, it's free. You're going to give it right back to them, but you can make $35, $40, $50 an hour out here on the streets with certification driving a backhoe. But you wait to go to prison. It's never too late to do, but the point that I'm making is get your GED. If you dropped out of high school, if it's high school, get your GED out here, man. You don't have to go to prison to do these things, man. Locking people up is a business. 24 hours, 7 days a week. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doors are revolving, and they'll never, ever, ever in life close. Real Kids TV. Hopefully you liked the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that post notification so anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Now, I will be the first to admit sometimes I get my names mixed up in my videos. Why? Because I'll know a person's real name, right? And so I don't always use that person's real name because there's reasons why I can't do that. So I may say, okay, like yesterday I did my video and started out, her name was Shonda. But later on in the video, her name was Toya. Well, it was the same person, but I got my names mixed up or whatever. You know, players mess up sometimes. You know what I mean? But it's not about the names, it's just about the message. You can't always use a person's real name on YouTube. It just doesn't work and you want to get sued. So I'll know the person's real name, so sometimes I'll blurt out their real name. And I'll catch myself, or I'll catch it later on when I look at the video. I'm like, oh man, I said this, or that's just the way that the ball bounces, man. Real Kids TV.